The rain pounded against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse office as Marcus Sterling stood frozen, his hands shaking as he held the newspaper. The headline screamed at him in bold black letters, "Tech genius Sophia Chen sells company for $500 million." His coffee mug slipped from his other hand, crashing to the marble floor. The woman staring back at him from the front-page photo was the same woman he had crushed 18 months ago. The same woman whose heart he had shattered with 7 cruel words. "With you, I'll lose everything." Those words now felt like poison in his throat as he stared at Sophia's triumphant smile in the photograph. She was standing next to the buyer, a tech giant CEO, both of them holding a ceremonial check. $500 million. More money than Marcus had ever dreamed of. His secretary knocked on the door. "Mr. Sterling? The board meeting starts in 5 minutes. They're waiting for your quarterly report." Marcus couldn't move. The newspaper trembled in his grip as memories flooded back like a tsunami. How could the woman he had called worthless and a liability now be worth $500 million? But to understand how Marcus Sterling went from rejecting the love of his life to losing the biggest opportunity of his career, we need to go back to where it all began. 18 months earlier, Sophia Chen adjusted her thick-rimmed glasses as she walked into Sterling Industries' sleek lobby. Her worn-out sneakers squeaked against the polished marble floor, and she clutched her laptop bag tighter. She didn't belong here, and everyone could see it. The receptionist looked her up and down with barely hidden disgust. "Excuse me, miss. Are you here for the cleaning services? The service entrance is around back." Sophia's cheeks burned red. "No, I have a meeting with Mr. Sterling. I'm Sophia Chen." The receptionist's perfectly painted eyebrows shot up. "Oh, you're the computer person." She said it like Sophia had some kind of disease. "Top floor. Don't touch anything expensive." As Sophia rode the elevator up 30 floors, she practiced her pitch one more time. She had been working on this project for 3 years, sleeping in her garage, living on instant noodles and dreams. Her revolutionary software could change everything about how companies handle data security. She just needed someone to believe in her. The elevator doors opened, and Sophia gasped. The office was like something from a movie. Everything was white and gold, and sparkled under crystal chandeliers. And there, behind a desk the size of her entire apartment, sat Marcus Sterling. He was even more handsome than his photos in business magazines. Tall, with perfectly styled dark hair and a suit that probably cost more than Sophia's car. When he looked up at her, his green eyes were cold as ice. "You're late," he said without standing up. Sophia checked her phone. "I'm actually 2 minutes early. I said you're late." Marcus's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "I don't have all day for this." Sophia took a deep breath and sat down in the chair across from his desk. The leather was so expensive it made a soft whoosh sound. She opened her laptop with shaking hands. "Mr. Sterling, thank you for seeing me. I know you're busy, so I'll get straight to the point. I've developed a security system that could revolutionize." "Stop." Marcus held up one manicured hand. "Before you waste any more of my time, let me ask you something. What makes you think a company like Sterling Industries would want to work with someone like you?" The words hit Sophia like a slap. "Someone like me?" Marcus leaned back in his chair, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "Come on, Miss Chan. Look around. This is a billion-dollar company. Our clients expect a certain level of sophistication. They expect to work with professionals who understand the real world." Sophia's hands clenched into fists on her lap. "My software is better than anything your current security team has. I can prove it." "Your software?" Marcus laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You mean that little project you've been working on in your garage?" "I did my research, Miss Chen." "You're nobody. You have no education from a real university, no experience with actual companies, no connections. You're just a girl with a computer who thinks she's discovered something revolutionary." Each word was like a knife, twisting in Sophia's chest. But she had come too far to give up now. "Just let me show you what it can do. Give me 10 minutes. "I've heard enough." Marcus stood up, straightening his tie. "Here's some free advice, Miss Chen. In the real world, ideas are worthless without the right people behind them. And you." He looked her up and down like she was something disgusting he had stepped in. You will never be the right person. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but she refused to let them fall. Not in front of him. You're making a mistake. The only mistake here is me agreeing to this meeting in the first place. Marcus walked to the door and opened it. My assistant will show you out. And Miss Chen, don't come back. Security will have your photo. But Sophia didn't move. She couldn't. 3 years of her life, thousands of hours of work, all her hopes and dreams, they couldn't end like this. Please, she whispered. You don't understand. This could make both of us rich. This could change everything. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes for just a moment. Something that might have been doubt, or maybe even guilt. But then his expression hardened again. You want to know the truth? His voice was deadly quiet now. Even if your little program was the greatest thing ever invented, I wouldn't work with you. Do you know why? Sophia shook her head, afraid to speak. Marcus leaned down until his face was inches from hers. She could smell his expensive cologne, see the coldness in his green eyes. Because working with you would destroy everything I've built. My clients, my reputation, my entire empire. It would all crumble if they saw me partnered with someone like you. So no, Miss Chen. The answer is no, and it will always be no. The words that came next would haunt Marcus Sterling for the rest of his life. With you, I'll lose everything. Sophia stood up slowly, her legs shaking like a newborn deer. She closed her laptop and put it back in her bag. When she looked at Marcus again, there was something different in her eyes. The hurt was still there, but underneath it was something harder, something dangerous. You're right about one thing, Mr. Sterling, she said quietly. This will change everything. Just not the way you think. She walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back one last time. One day, you're going to remember this moment, and you're going to wish you had said yes. The door closed behind her with a soft click, leaving Marcus alone in his perfect office. For just a second, he felt a strange chill, like someone had walked over his grave. But then he shook his head and went back to his desk. He had real work to do. Sophia Chen was already forgotten, but Sophia Chen was far from finished. As the elevator carried her down from the penthouse, down from the world of marble and gold and cruel green eyes, she made herself a promise. She would make Marcus Sterling eat every single word he had said to her. She would make him beg for the chance to work with her. And when that day came, she would be the one saying no. 3 months later, Sophia was back in her garage, but everything had changed. The rejection from Marcus Sterling hadn't broken her. It had set her on fire. She worked 18 hours a day, sleeping on a cot next to her computers. She lived on energy drinks and determination. Her security software was getting better every day, but more importantly, she was getting smarter about the business side of things. She started reaching out to smaller companies, ones that couldn't afford to turn down a good idea just because it came from a nobody. Her first client was a tiny startup that made phone apps. They paid her $500 to protect their servers from hackers. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The second client paid $1,000. The third paid $5,000. Word spread quietly through the tech world about a mysterious security expert who could make any system unbreakable. No one knew who she was or where she had come from. They just knew that companies protected by her software never got hacked. Meanwhile, Marcus Sterling was having problems of his own. Sir, we've been hacked again, his chief technology officer said during their Monday morning meeting. They got into our client database. 30 companies worth of private information is now on the dark web. Marcus slammed his fist on the conference table. How is this possible? We spend millions on security. The hackers are getting smarter, sir. Our current system just can't keep up. This was the fourth major hack in 6 months. Sterling Industries was starting to lose clients. Big, important clients who didn't want to trust their secrets to a company that couldn't protect its own. Find me a solution, Marcus growled. I don't care what it costs. Find me the best security expert in the world and get them here. His team spent weeks searching. They interviewed experts from Silicon Valley, from MIT, from the biggest tech companies in the world. But every system they tried failed within days. The hackers always found a way in. Months passed. Sophia's reputation grew while Marcus's crumbled. She was still anonymous, still working from her garage, but now she had clients all over the world. Tech giants were starting to notice the mysterious security expert who never failed. And then, one cold morning in December, everything changed again. Sophia was drinking coffee and checking her emails when she saw a message that made her heart stop. Subject: acquisition offer, 500 million. She read the email 3 times before it sank in. Tech Global Industries, one of the biggest companies in the world, wanted to buy her software. All of it, for $500 million. Sophia sat back in her chair, stunned. $500 million. She would be richer than Marcus Sterling himself. But the best part wasn't the money. The best part was the final paragraph of the email. We've been tracking your work for the past year, and we're particularly impressed by how you've protected companies that our competitors couldn't. In fact, we understand that Sterling Industries recently lost several major clients due to security breaches that your software could have prevented. Clearly, they don't know talent when they see it. Sophia smiled. It was a cold smile, full of satisfaction and sweet revenge. Marcus Sterling had said that working with her would make him lose everything. He had been absolutely right. But now, as Sophia prepared to meet with Tech Global's executives to finalize the deal that would make her incredibly rich and incredibly powerful, she realized something important. Marcus Sterling didn't even know who she was anymore. To him, she was still just the nobody who had begged for 10 minutes of his time. He had no idea that the mysterious security expert everyone was talking about was the same girl he had thrown out of his office. He had no idea that the woman who was about to become more successful than he could ever dream of was the same woman whose heart he had shattered with 7 cruel words. But he was about to find out. And when he did, Sophia Chen was going to make sure he remembered exactly what he had said to her 18 months ago. With you, I'll lose everything. Because now, Marcus Sterling was about to lose everything indeed. The meeting with Tech Global is set for next week. The papers would be signed, the money would be transferred, and Sophia's face would be on the front page of every business magazine in the country. Marcus Sterling would open his morning newspaper, see her photograph, and realize that the biggest opportunity of his lifetime had walked into his office 18 months ago, and he had thrown it away because he was too proud, too cruel, and too blind to see what was right in front of him. The girl he had called worthless was about to become worth $500 million. The woman he had said would destroy his empire was about to build her own. And somewhere in his perfect penthouse office, surrounded by his marble and gold and crystal chandeliers, Marcus Sterling was about to learn the most expensive lesson of his life. Never underestimate a woman with nothing left to lose. The newspaper hit the marble floor with a sound like thunder. Marcus Sterling stumbled backward, his face white as snow. The photograph stared up at him from the scattered pages. Sophia Chen, the woman he had destroyed, now worth more money than he had ever seen. "Sir?" His secretary's voice came through the intercom, worried. "Are you all right? I heard a crash." Marcus couldn't speak. His throat felt like it was full of sand. On his desk, his computer screen showed the news article that would ruin his life forever. The headline made his stomach twist into knots. From garage to gold. How mystery tech genius Sophia Chen built a $500 million empire after being rejected by every major company. He scrolled down with shaking fingers. The article told the whole story. How Sophia had been turned down by company after company. How she had worked alone in her garage for months. How she had built the most powerful security software in the world while living on instant noodles and dreams. And then Marcus saw the quote that made his blood turn to ice. When asked about her biggest motivation, Miss Chen smiled mysteriously. "Someone once told me that working with me would make him lose everything. He was right, but not the way he thought. I'm not the one who's losing everything today." The phone on his desk rang like a death bell. Marcus's hands were shaking so badly that he could barely pick it up. "Sterling Industries," he whispered. "Marcus." The voice on the other end was his biggest client, Robert Harrison from Harrison Banking. "Have you seen the news? That security expert everyone's been talking about. It's the same girl you turned down last year." Marcus's world started spinning. What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb with me!" Robert's voice was furious. My IT team found the old security footage from your building. Sophia Chen, the woman who just sold her company for $500 million, came to your office 18 months ago, and you threw her out. The phone slipped from Marcus's fingers. Other calls were coming in now. The phone was ringing and ringing like a fire alarm. His computer showed 17 new emails, all from angry clients. His secretary burst through the door without knocking. Mr. Sterling, there are reporters downstairs. They're asking about Sophia Chen and a meeting from last year. What should I tell them? Marcus couldn't answer. He was remembering that day in perfect, horrible detail. Sophia's nervous smile, her worn-out sneakers, the way her hands had shaken when she opened her laptop, the way she had begged him for just 10 minutes. The way he had looked at her was like she was nothing. With you, I'll lose everything. Those words came back to him now like a curse. He had said them to hurt her, to make her feel small and worthless. He had wanted to crush her spirit so completely that she would never dare to dream big again. Instead, he had created a monster. A brilliant, determined, incredibly successful monster who was now more powerful than he could ever be. The intercom buzzed again. Mr. Sterling, Channel 7 News is here. They want to interview you about Sophia Chen. Marcus's legs gave out. He collapsed into his leather chair as the horrible truth crashed down on him. Every major news station would pick up this story. Every business magazine would write about the stupid, arrogant CEO who had turned down $500 million because he thought he was too good to work with a girl from a garage. His reputation was ruined. His company was finished. Everything he had built over 20 years was crumbling like a house made of cards. And it was all because of 7 words he had said to hurt a woman who had done nothing wrong except believe in herself. 3 floors below, Sophia Chen stood in the marble lobby of Sterling Industries, surrounded by reporters and cameras. She looked completely different from the scared girl who had walked into this building 18 months ago. She wore a perfectly tailored black suit that cost more than Marcus's car. Her hair was styled by the best salon in the city. Diamond earrings sparkled in her ears. She looked like she belonged in this world of marble and gold. But her eyes were still the same, sharp, intelligent, and now filled with the quiet satisfaction of complete victory. Miss Chen, a reporter called out, what do you want to say to Marcus Sterling, the man who rejected your business proposal? Sophia smiled. It was not a kind smile. I want to thank Mr. Sterling, actually. If he had said yes to me that day, I would have given him half of everything I earned. I would have made him incredibly rich. She paused, letting her words sink in. But he didn't just say no. He was cruel. He tried to destroy my confidence. He told me I would never be good enough for his world. Her voice got stronger, more powerful. Well, Mr. Sterling was wrong about many things, but he was right about one thing. The cameras focused on her face as she delivered the killing blow. He said that working with me would make him lose everything. And he was absolutely right. Because by not working with me, he's lost everything instead. Upstairs in his office, Marcus watched the news coverage on his computer. Every channel was showing the same thing. Sophia Chen's triumph and his own complete humiliation. The phone rang again. This time, it was his lawyer. Marcus, we need to talk. 3 of your biggest clients just called. They're terminating their contracts immediately. They don't want to work with someone who has such terrible judgment about people. Marcus hung up without saying a word. Another call. This time, it was his business partner. The board of directors is meeting tomorrow morning. They want you to step down as CEO. The company stock has dropped 30% in the last hour. Marcus hung up again. More calls kept coming. Clients leaving, partners backing out, investors pulling their money. Every single call was the same message. Marcus Sterling was finished. He sat in his perfect office, surrounded by all the expensive things he had worked so hard to buy, and realized that none of it mattered anymore. He had lost everything that was actually important. And somewhere across the city, Sophia Chen was celebrating the biggest victory of her life. The next morning, Marcus woke up in his empty penthouse apartment. His wife had left him 6 months ago, tired of being married to a man who cared more about money than people. His friends had all been business contacts who disappeared when the news broke. He was completely alone. Marcus walked to his kitchen and made coffee with shaking hands. The morning newspaper was sitting on his doorstep, and he almost didn't want to look at it. But he knew he had to face the truth. The headline was even worse than he had expected. Sterling Industries bankrupt. Board fires CEO after Sophia Chen scandal. The article explained everything. How the company had lost all its major clients overnight. How the stock had crashed. The board of directors had voted unanimously to remove Marcus and sell the company for almost nothing. 20 years of work, gone in 24 hours. But the worst part wasn't losing his company. The worst part wasn't losing his money, or his reputation, or his friends. The worst part was knowing that he had done this to himself. If he had been kind to Sophia that day, if he had listened to her idea, if he had treated her like a human being instead of garbage, everything would be different. They would have been partners. They would have built something amazing together. Instead of losing everything, he would have gained everything. But Marcus Sterling had been too proud, too cruel, and too stupid to see what was right in front of him. A week later, Sophia Chen was on the cover of Fortune magazine as Businesswoman of the Year. She had used her $500 million to start a new company that was already worth twice as much. She was invited to speak at conferences around the world. Universities were offering to give her honorary degrees. She had everything she had ever dreamed of, and more. Marcus Sterling, meanwhile, was living in a tiny apartment across town, working at a computer repair shop for $15 an hour. His penthouse had been sold to pay his debts. His expensive cars were gone. Even his fancy clothes had been auctioned off. He had nothing left except the memory of the biggest mistake of his life. Late one evening, as Marcus was walking home from work, he saw a familiar figure coming out of the building that used to house Sterling Industries. It was Sophia Chen, probably there for a meeting with the new owners. She looked even more beautiful than before. Success had given her a glow that made her shine like a star. She was talking on her phone, probably making another $1 million deal. For a moment, Marcus thought about walking up to her. He thought about apologizing, about telling her how sorry he was for the way he had treated her. Maybe she would forgive him. Maybe they could start over. But as he watched her, Sophia looked up and their eyes met across the busy street. She recognized him immediately. Marcus saw her expression change from surprise to something much colder. She stared at him for a long moment, taking in his cheap clothes, his tired face, his broken dreams. Then Sophia Chen smiled. It was the same cruel smile Marcus had given her 18 months ago, when he had thrown her out of his office like she was nothing. She got into her expensive car, a car that cost more than Marcus would make in 5 years, and drove away without looking back. Marcus stood on the sidewalk, watching her taillights disappear into the night, and finally understood what he had lost. It wasn't just money or success or power. It was the chance to be part of something extraordinary with an extraordinary woman. It was the chance to build something beautiful instead of destroying it. It was the chance to be remembered as the man who believed in Sophia Chen instead of the man who broke her heart. But that chance was gone forever. As Marcus walked home to his empty apartment, he whispered the words that would haunt him for the rest of his life. With you, I'll lose everything. He had been so afraid of losing everything that he had guaranteed he would lose it all. And Sophia Chen, the woman he had called worthless, had become worth more than his wildest dreams, while he had become worth nothing at all. The girl with the worn-out sneakers and the nervous smile had conquered the world. The powerful CEO with his marble office and crystal chandeliers had lost everything. And somewhere in her beautiful new penthouse, Sophia Chen was planning her next billion-dollar idea, while Marcus Sterling counted the coins in his pocket and wondered how he had been so blind, so cruel, and so incredibly, devastatingly wrong. The story of Marcus Sterling and Sophia Chen has become a legend in the business world, a cautionary tale told in boardrooms and business schools around the globe. It was the story of how pride comes before the fall, how cruelty always comes back to destroy the one who deals it, and how sometimes the person you hurt the most becomes the person who succeeds the most, not because of you, but despite you. Sophia Chen had kept her promise. She had made Marcus Sterling remember that moment in his office. She had made him wish he had said yes. And when he finally came begging, she was the one who said no. Justice, it turned out, was a dish best served with a $500 million fortune and a smile as cold as winter ice.